doing? Add spotlight. Okay. So welcome back, everyone, to the February 28th, last day of February, Holistic Actions Q&A webinars, where we're going to help empower you all to know exactly what your pets are telling you on this path to pet wellness, where we just let our dogs be dogs and our cats be cats, and let the everyone just express themselves naturally. So, like Dr. Christina said, just go ahead and write in the chat or raise your hand by hitting the react button at the bottom of your screen, and there's a little hand there. And if we have nothing to talk about, then we'll just ramble on. And Nick is clapping, but I don't know if that means she wants to say
Kathy's
something
clapping.
or
They just want us
Okay.
to ramble on. Go
I was
ahead,
trying to raise my hand.
Nick. Go ahead, Nick.
Okay, I have a rescued Labrador, well, primarily Labrador. He's 8. I've known him since he was a puppy. To my knowledge, he had 2 rounds, 3 tops of vaccines. None since that. He had an event happen on Christmas Day, and we've been struggling with it since. He had, sorry, the light's right behind me, so I'm gonna move. He had like, it was so weird. It's like his eyes got super droopy. One of them got like really droopy, like a hound dog. Can't seem to find a good place for light. And the other one, I didn't know that dogs had third eyelids. I was like, oh my gosh, where's his eyeball? It was like, and they looked like sunken in. I don't know. It scared me. I didn't know what to do. I gave him half of a Zyrtec, for people because we used to give that to the other dog. And then uh, it it got better. His eyes were still bothering him though. He's been rubbing them. Then about 2 weeks later, we ended up at the vet because his eyes got really goopy, like more goopy. They've been getting goopy, and then in a matter of a couple hours, they turned from like I don't know, yellow, grayish goop to green. And they put us on, the typical Neopolybac decks. And we did that. Then it went away somewhat. It's still bothering him. Happened again, same protocol. Then I talked to somebody else and used some, um, so we went back to the vet, did the same ointment again, same thing, came back. So then I did some pulsatilla. Thought it helped, but came back. Um, and this just keeps happening. I am worried about glaucoma. And then the person I was working with, who this time is not a vet, he's a homeopath of people for 42 years. He recommended sulfur to try and figure out what's going on to clear the remedy. That didn't really tell me anything except he developed some spots over by his sheath. I don't know if that's what you call it with a male dog. With horses, we call it
Uh-huh.
that.
Yep.
Like red
Yep.
spots, like, yeah. And so, before all this happened, he had been having, like, his eyes had been bugging him, but he had a little bout of diarrhea. So I've been cooking, you know, cooking for him. So I just am worried. I don't know if this is a food allergy. I don't know if this is environmental allergy or if there's something, if I actually need to bring him to an eye doctor. I don't have a lot of money to overspend on diagnoses here. I just want him to feel better and his eyes not to hurt.
Absolutely. Totally understand, Nick. So here's the thing for everybody. I assume you're not a Holistic Actions member, or you would
No, not yet. As soon as
sort
I
of.
work more, I would love to be.
Okay, that's great. So here's the thing. There's a lot you can access on holisticactions.com for free.
Okay.
So if you can't afford to become a member, anybody, please access everything for free that you can. One of them is the 101 course, which is a 5-lesson course. And the first one is really key and what I'll address here. The cause of any problem, the cause of all symptoms, whether it's horses, dogs, people, cats, birds, plants, is an imbalance in the underlying energy field. you know a little bit about homeopathy because you've been using it. So we call it vital force in homeopathy. When the vital force is sensitive to something and gets triggered by that which it's sensitive to, and you have no idea what it is. It could be your emotions, could be family stuff, could be food, could be something happening 10 blocks away. When it gets triggered and pushed off balance, it creates symptoms. And the great thing is both now, but for everybody whose dogs and cats are healthy at the moment, if you start doing a physical exam at least once a month if they're healthy, and more often if they're not healthy, then you will learn what's normal for them. You'll learn about the third eyelid because you'll see something in the eye and go, I wonder what that is, even if it's not across the eye. And you'll know what's normal for them, especially good for cats. If you're checking when you're checking their gum color when you're doing the physical exam, you'll know some cats just have a whiter gum than others. Healthy, totally healthy. That's just how they are their whole life. And then there's some dogs that you go to check their gum color, and oh my God, they're blue. Are they having are they fainting? No, they just have pigmented gums. But if you wait until it's an emergency, then you might get freaked out because you didn't realize that's what it was. So some things are sort of hidden. So keeping track of what we call early warning signs is the clue to start treating before there's a major problem. And having the eye problems that had been going on before and the diarrhea, when things like that happen, even occasionally, you go, okay, let's see what we can do to improve the health overall. Now, this is where, when they're apparently not ill, but just maybe showing a few little signs, or where your dog is now, is where you can come in. And lesson 2 in the 101 course is on nutrition. So key for every animal and every person is to feed the very best food you can. Now, the good news, which very few people unfortunately talk about, is that it can be very inexpensive to feed a fresh food diet, even to big dogs, even maybe not organic, but from farmers that are farming sustainably, biodynamically, et cetera. They may not be certified organic. So that is one thing that for everybody to be working on. And there is no one right diet. First, forget about dog food. You're not feeding dog food. You're feeding food. You're serving food. Share what you're eating if you're not a vegetarian or vegan. So if you're having chicken, then you got a whole chicken, you eat the breasts and legs, and then your lab gets half of that chicken, the raw bones, the meat that's left on it, all of that for one meal. So you can really experiment. Now, of course, if you're dealing with some diarrhea, you may need to be a little more careful with changing the diet right away. The next thing we talk about are things that you can do that will help rebalance the energy field even before you consult a homeopathic veterinarian or a Chinese medicine veterinarian. So unfortunately, from what you've said, your human homeopath is not looking at what we call the whole case.
Mm-hmm.
Yellow discharge pulsatilla. Yeah, yellow discharge has probably 200 remedies in that rubric out of the 7,000 that are possible. Meh. So a lab's behavior may or may not be pulsatilla. So it's sort of like, well, let's try this kind of thing without sitting down and listing all of the symptoms and finding it. Because your lab is 8, I would suggest, if at all possible, I personally, and Dr. Jeff may chime in differently, at this point, it does not sound like you need to dig in and do very expensive specialized visits to an ophthalmologist. Other than the eyes and the red spots by the sheath, how is your lab? Active, playful, energy?
It's interesting because we had an event recently where he is a ballaholic. He loves to play. He's learning to walk with a leash, which we walk almost every day. He plays ball several times a day. Um, he has gone through these periods off and on where he's like what I call punky puppy. He's just like not, I don't know, he's just not as boisterous and bouncy as he usually is. And then what's even stranger is we had some kind of a wild animal. I couldn't tune into fully what it was, but it was something that's definitely not around. And I tried to ask him, and he did not know. He's not familiar. He couldn't give me a picture, but he was scared to go outside for a little bit. We live back in a
Okay.
canyon. And we have
Okay.
fence, but that has moved on, I think, because I'm not getting the same resistance from him, but I do think that that impacted him a little bit. But the eye thing came before I picked that up, and the eye thing did get real green. The conjunctiva was really red, and he
Yes.
rubs it,
Yep.
and then I had been, of course, looked on the internet, and it's talking about
So
glaucoma and how you got to get on that.
avoid the internet. It's
Yeah, I
very
know. I
unlikely.
was like, oh, I wish I hadn't done that. Now I feel like I'm being irresponsible if I don't get his pressure checked.
No, no. And it's fine to get the pressure checked, but that's very unlikely. Um, and another free thing you can do at Holistic Actions is search the forum. So you could go to the forum for free and put in glaucoma and read what anybody else has asked about glaucoma or that we've talked about glaucoma. So don't worry about that. But you do need to worry about um, definitely be tracking his punky times and see if you can make a positive, connection for that. Sounds like you are able to animal communicate with him because you said you asked him what it was.
I'm working on it myself, and I actually asked the animal communicator that I've been working with off and on for about 30 years, and she said that she was just calling it a creature. She couldn't get a name either.
Okay.
I do know there was a mountain lion spotted
Well,
right
it
down the
doesn't matter
street.
what it is.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
main thing is because you can communicate, you can talk to him about the different, and this is why I encourage everybody to learn animal communication and ways of testing what's good and not good. So for starters, right now, I would go to your local health food store and pick up several of the different, or maybe even if they'll let you bring him with you, and ask him which ones would help his eye temporarily the most. So there are eye drops, herbal eye drops for the eyes that are
Oh,
available. And the people ones are equally as good for the dogs. Now, this is just soothing. This isn't completely curing this
okay.
problem. So he's off. All of his symptoms will go away with homeopathic treatment. And so definitely you want to work. And that's another free thing that we have is if you go to holisticactions.com/select, read the whole article on finding a holistic vet, and homeopathic ones can often work virtually. And so you can check and see who's available and who you could work with that I would check out, check their prices. Some are more expensive than others, but your ultimate goal needs to be doing that. At this point, I would be doing temporary, and I wouldn't probably do a whole lot more homeopathy until you know a little bit more.
Okay, yeah, I'm taking classes. I'm learning about that myself, but I wasn't sure.
Okay. That
I
it,
just my other concern is that I'm making his if this is a food allergy that I'm making it
no,
worse with the chicken and
it's
stuff that I'm giving him
it's
because the
unlikely
diarrhea is
to
gone. So,
okay, good. It's unlikely to be a food allergy, but it's fine to feed different meats and different
oh, is it? That was my
vegetables.
other question. I don't
The
want to
more
keep
variety
rotating meats and then cause an allergy.
the more variety you have, the best. This does not sound like an allergy.
Okay.
Something
Okay.
happened at Christmas and we don't know what that was. And an
Okay.
allergy would have shown up before this. So I would definitely rotate the foods, get something soothing for the eyes, check out the free things on Holistic Actions, and really look at finding a homeopathic veterinarian to work with.
Thank you so
Okay,
much. Really
you're
appreciate it.
welcome. Okay. Jeff, would you chime in with anything you'd like to add to that while I turn off my phone? Sorry, guys.
Yep, the only thing I'd like to add, Nick, is really good general eye support is hot compresses and even just lubricating eye drops. So the herbal eye drops could be great, but definitely the hot compresses. And ideally, you would do compress followed by the lubricating drops twice a day. So first do the compress and lubricating drops. And all we're doing, whether it's homeopathy or herbal support, or all we're doing really is allowing the body to heal itself. And that is just a really good way to help the eyes heal, no matter what's going on with them.
Okay, so you don't think that it could be a pressure. Nothing sounds like it was indicative of a pressure problem to
Probably
you.
not, but I think if you're, uncertain or, if there's squinting or pain or any sign, you can also do, what we use for chicken pressure is called a tonometer. Well, there's
Mhm.
also something called a digital tonometer. And you've got one, right? You've got 10 of them actually, and that's your finger. And you can actually feel top of the eyeball and feel
Mhm.
them both.
Over the eyelids, not
And
the.
yeah, don't poke your dog in the eye. Yep. But yeah, that's where I would start.
Right
And
on, through the
yeah,
lid.
yeah,
And
Okay, and then you just lightly.
just press, lightly press.
lightly feel and see if there's a difference between them. Yeah.
But
And,
you've
and
just been to the
it's
vet 3 times. And
Yeah,
so
but he doesn't have the measuring
it
device
doesn't
thing.
matter. That doesn't matter. If he felt it was glaucoma, he would have said something to you
right, right.
instead of the internet making you worried.
Well, he also said, "Well, we hope this doesn't go towards glaucoma, but
Okay.
you might have to see an eye specialist for that." I don't really think he knows what it was. He was just trying to mask the
Right.
symptoms for me.
Yep,
And
absolutely.
All
That's
right.
what happens. And that's just another reminder that one of the best things we can all do to keep our animals healthy is to keep ourselves fear-free. And that's one of the things we do at Holistic Action. So, Deb, I'm not sure what your question is. There was a heart murmur,
Yeah, I think actually
and
Kathy has had her hand raised for a
oh,
while. So
okay, we'll
let's
do
let's
Kathy
let's
first.
yeah,
I
let's
sent I sent a message in the
go to
chat because
Greece.
there's so many things going on with him. The vet suggested the drug for the heart murmur.
Uh,
As you'll know, the vet med, I think it's called.
Right. So here's the thing. You have a choice of, at this point, do you have a holistic veterinarian?
No,
Okay. So everybody on the call, before you get into the pickle that Deb and Nick are in, where you have animals that have a problem and need treatment now, may need treatment now, get your holistic veterinarian on board. It may take you weeks to months to settle on who you really want to be working with. So go to holisticactions.com/select and get on board. If you need help, one of the things I do is pet health consulting. I don't treat the animals, but I help you get on the right path and help you find the vet that will be your perfect long-term vet. You're doing some wonderful things in terms of food. I wouldn't do renal diet. Just stick
no.
with food. Don't, renal diets aren't necessary. So just stick with fresh food, however you want to do it. There's a wide variety. I like just feeding whatever you guys are eating, wide variety of vegetables, fruits, pureed, wide variety of meats, even offering your bagel with cream cheese if they're not in serious ailment condition. So stop thinking dog food and just think, what's the freshest, most healthy food? Bill
Right.
Pollock is a veterinarian, and he said, when you're buying food in the grocery store for you or your pets, ask yourself, which carrot looks the healthiest? It looks the happiest, and
Well, I've
buy
been
those
always doing
carrots.
organic chicken and the
That's good. That's
Honest
good.
Kitchen, I try to
But I'm
vary.
saying play around with. I'm just saying expand a little bit from what
Yeah.
you're doing. You're doing fine. If that's what you do forever, that's fine. I'm just upping you a little bit.
No,
In
that's a
terms
good
of the
idea
heart
because she
murmur,
said put them completely on the renal diet food, and
right.
I'm not doing that,
So
And
I would do the free 101 course.
right.
Because you're not a member. So I would do a free 101 course and read the nutrition section. And in terms of the heart condition and the quote, maybe kidney condition, definitely I would sign on. You would work to get a holistic vet. And is he showing any symptoms other than the little bit of weight loss?
No,
Okay.
nothing's wrong with his
Okay.
kidneys. Heart murmur, I mean, I had two dogs that lived with a heart murmur, one until
Exactly.
18.
So at this
And
point,
she wanted to send me to a cardiologist, and I'm
At
like,
this point,
no.
Deb, at this point, you're doing fine. Get a holistic vet. That's your neck. That's
That's
what you
the
need to
problem
do.
Cape Cod
No,
has.
it's not. It is not a problem. Homeopathic veterinarians and other veterinarians will work virtually.
Right.
And
He
there's
did
some
have
really,
one that was here with the vet that we go to, and she left and moved to
I
Boston.
got it. That happens. And there are
But
a couple of good ones in Rhode Island as well.
yeah,
So, but that's it for now. Move on. And
yeah.
you're doing okay. Just play around with food a little more.
And I think
Take
using
the
the
101
Adored Beast,
course.
the omega-3 is helping him a lot, and the healthy gut, and
Those are
you
all
know,
good things to do.
yeah.
Absolutely. Okay,
And
thank you, Deb. Kathy?
Hello, I'm just going to be as brief as I can because I know there's people waiting. I do have a holistic vet. I do have a
Good.
homeopath. My cat is
Who is
17,
your homeopath?
Dr. Jim.
Oh, great.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah, the
Well,
classical homeopathy. So,
yes.
so I have a cat, female, 17 going to 18 years old.
Good.
She had a very bad food. I was completely ignorant. I gave her kibble in the beginning, and
Okay.
I started after canned, and now she's in a mix of canned and raw.
Okay.
Sometimes cooked, sometimes
Good.
sardines and things. And I'm trying to go all raw or all cooked, but because I travel a lot and I have a family in other countries, I
You
cannot. I
don't have
still
to do one food. You're doing fine.
okay.
That's
Thank you.
good. No
The point
problem.
is, she has renal insufficient. She has
Yeah.
renal. Oh God, she has
Yeah.
renal
She has kidney problems.
kidney problems, kidney insufficiency, kidney
Yeah.
problems.
Yep.
She's fine. She's getting supplements. She's fine with this. The homeopathy is balance her. Sometimes this is my question today. My question is sometimes she has seizures. Now,
Oh, well, your
now,
homeopath should be treating those.
yes. Wait a minute. He believes it's a tumor. I don't believe it's a tumor. Um, he's my holistic vet said. Oh, Dr. Jeff had an idea. I can see him already. My holistic vet said research about seizures. And the first thing I learned is that seizures are not only, they come from various reasons. So I noticed that she has seizures when it's hot and when it's sleeping hot and she's going to eat. Then she has a seizures about once a month because now I kind of control it. My holistic vet told me it's not very first question he said it's not very good to take anti-seizure to go to a neurologist in your country homeopath neurologist vet and try to get her
I
anti-seizures.
agree. It's better not
Don't
to.
work. They don't work and sometimes they get
I
dependent on it.
agree.
First question. Second question, do you have any other info to give me on seizures?
Yes, find a different homeopath.
Okay. Okay. No, but he's helping. But he told me he believes. Okay, he believes it's a tumor, and I don't believe it's a tumor. I don't believe it.
Right.
I feel.
If
I
if
believe.
they're so I'm going to let Dr. Jeff answer now. Go ahead, Dr. Jeff.
I was just curious, what age did he start with the seizures?
She
When
started
did
last summer in Greece,
How
which was
fast?
about 40 degrees,
16.
17. She was already 17
Wow.
years old.
Wow. Wow. And you don't have air conditioning or
I'm buying one. I'm saving, and then maybe next week I'm getting one. I'm getting one.
Yeah, and you may want to add in something called, and I'll put it in the chat, something called dimethylglycine,
Oh,
because methyl donors like that will lower the seizure threshold. They're very benign.
DMG. Oh,
DMG.
okay. Dr. Dim gave me DMG. DMG.
Great,
You have, I
great,
think, from two labs in America, they have
great.
DMG.
Yep, yep, yep. And you can get it from a lot of places, a lot of sources. Yeah.
Ah,
Awesome.
okay, okay. Thank you. Thank you. That was my only question.
one
Okay.
more comment. It's just, I know Dr. Dim, and he's a great homeopath. The thing is, when I was a practicing homeopath for 35 years, I would have animals I was working with and I was helping them, but they were developing other conditions. And so I knew that I was missing something. I was not asking the right questions to come up with the remedy that would actually resolve everything. So if any symptoms are getting more frequent, it's
No, that's not.
time at that point to consider working with a different homeopath. So
No, it's not. I got
you
him
said they're
before.
once a month now.
No, sorry. They were. It's about once a month. I got him after they started the seizures, and I said something
Oh.
to him, which she has seizures when my father has ischemic events, cerebral events. And this I noticed in the last 2 months. My father had two cerebral, what's the name? Ischemic, though
Yeah,
it's not enough
is.
blood.
Yeah.
And she, the same day my father was having there in another country, she was having a seizure. Not the same time, the same
Yeah,
day.
that can happen.
That sounds like you may want
Really?
to talk to Lisa Tully in Ireland, who just did a webinar about, about that.
What?
Uh,
What?
Well,
there's
if you
this,
were, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead,
yeah,
Dr. Jeff.
what I was saying is that we have a webinar from Lisa Tully in Ireland, who deals with that kind of mirroring physical conditions between people and animals. So she may be worth contacting.
Mm. I am an animal communicator myself, and I study mirroring, but normally the mirror is between the person and their animal. Martha Williams wrote a book about it. Now, and she's crazy about my father. She met him once, but they are completely connected. Completely connected. Thank you so much again.
And
Good.
good
You are
luck, Kathy.
welcome. Okay, Mary Rush, you're next. You have your hand up and posted. That's great. And thank you for switching your cat off of dry food. And it can be a slow process with cats. That absolutely is true. So the main thing I would look at is rather than thinking you have to feed a commercial raw diet and only that one commercial raw diet that you've decided on, it's fine to offer different foods. Now, if all she would eat was cooked chicken, that wouldn't be sufficient either because you'd want more of a variety. The fact that you've made progress from the fact that you've gone from dry food to raw Stella and Chewy and from dry food, um, you know, that's great. And that she's eating. I wouldn't add any morsels of dry food because she's chewing your broom and paintbrushes. Yep, she is happiest eating her dry food because dry food is kitty crack. The manufacturers of dry food for dogs and cats actually told rabies control officers, oh, you want to know how to get the wildlife to eat the oral rabies vaccine? We can make cats and dogs eat cardboard. And often they are. So it's kitty crack. So get it out of the house. And so you definitely are making progress. Definitely okay to add cooked chicken, but I would play around with trying different things, all sorts of foods. I would stay away from the dry food. Milk thistle there's no problem giving milk thistle. There are thousands of different supplements that you can try. Um, why do you think you've got a liver problem going on, Mary?
Well, because when I did the research on her vomiting, it that's what I found that she probably had a liver trouble because she vomits. It's not just hairball. Sometimes there's a hairball in it, but sometimes, I mean, I just am at a loss as to what this is, and I can't really afford to go to a vet right now. So I'm trying to do all this good stuff for her.
Okay.
Thinking
I
you know,
understand. So first, forget about it being a liver problem. Okay. There are a dozen different things that cause cats to vomit.
okay.
And unfortunately, how is her weight? Is her weight staying stable or is she losing
She,
weight?
yeah, she seems she has lost weight now that I've switched her diet
Um, are you
this
feeding
past
her
month.
as much as she will eat?
Uh, she eats a lot.
And how old is
And
she?
she's, I think she's around 8 probably now.
Okay.
And I have been trying to do that 3 times a day, like 8 o'clock, noon, and 4 o'clock instead of letting her eat all day because she would. She
Mm-hmm.
would eat all day long.
Yep. So, since you don't have the money, so number one, I mean, I would normally recommend that you get a blood panel to see how her kidneys are doing because that can cause
Oh,
weight loss. But before you do that, you might want to really seriously look at just keep playing with the diet and do as much. Do you know any kind of energy healing like Reiki or even energy medicine, anything like that for
not
people?
really. I've seen Donnie Eden's energy videos and done them on
Okay.
myself sometimes, but
Okay. Well, you can play those and do them on you with the intent that it will help your cat.
oh,
And yeah,
like that.
absolutely. And then I would be weighing her once a month just to keep track of that. And has she always chewed on your broom and paintbrushes?
No, it's only been since I took the dry food away from her. I took that
Okay.
away for, I mean, just these
So
past
you,
days. It was like, maybe I'll just give her the dry, just a little bit
nope, nope,
of
nope, nope.
dry
Don't,
food, and
don't,
she,
don't, 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 don't get it
oh,
back to that. That's
oh,
like me. I can go off sugar for a long time. And then if I start eating it, oh my God, it's so hard to stop again. So the other thing is to spend as much time as you can with mental and physical stimulation for her
mm,
and take the 101 course and read the details that are in that. And that's really going to help you. Okay. And
okay,
try, I would be, I really would look to see about trying to work with a holistic vet. And not all holistic vets are great, everybody. Many of you know that, unfortunately. Where do you live, Mary?
Arizona, Camford,
Okay. Near where?
Camp,
Phoenix or?
right in the center of the state, kind of
Okay.
near Flagstaff or
Okay.
Prescott. Phoenix, I'm about an hour and a half away.
Okay. There has been one in Sedona. Don't know if they're
Oh
still
yeah,
there.
I'm near Sedona.
So, I would check Sedona to see there was somebody who was good there. And
Do I
then,
have the name
yep,
or do you have the
absolutely.
name?
But do all of the free, you'll get tons of information going to holisticactions.com, take the 101 course, do the finding of that article, do this. When you don't have money, you have to spend your time
Right.
teaching yourself and go to the forum and look, do a search for kidney disease, do a search for feeding a cat, do a search for vomiting cat. But
Okay.
I wouldn't necessarily do milk thistle at this point.
Oh, okay. Okay.
No
Thank
point.
you.
No point. And that might have her have more trouble eating. Okay.
Okay,
Um,
thank you.
you're welcome. Anton?
Hi, thanks for having this. I was hoping, I have a question in terms of if it's possible to get a dog off of thyroid.
Absolutely.
Oh, great.
Um,
How do you do that?
you work with a homeopathic veterinarian or a really good Chinese medicine veterinarian. And they will I would say we have a 90% success rate in getting them off of of thyroid medicine when it's low thyroid. Takes a little bit longer.
Okay, that's
Or, I mean, it
amazing.
can be a little bit harder with cats and hyperthyroid, but hypothyroid is usually not as hard.
Okay, that's
So
good
all,
news.
yep. So all that I've said before,
So that's
add
great.
into
Thank
that.
you. Thanks so
You're
much.
welcome. Akiko, can you unmute yourself, Akiko? And I may be saying your name wrong.
She
Okay.
cannot speak. She wrote a message.
Oh, okay. I'll get to it then. You'll just have to wait, Akiko. You might want to put your hand down then since you can't speak. Okay, Nancy Bertman is next on the chat with great. You're working with someone who does Reiki. Learn to do Reiki yourself. And there are a ton of things you can do for anxiety. Um, since you didn't put in HA, I assume you're not a Holistic Actions member. We've had probably at least 10 speakers, if not more, talking about anxiety. I would check out, if you can put this in the chat, Jeff, Webb, Whole Energy Body Balance. Dr. Ed has a great program to look at. Oh, I see. Hi, Nancy. Has a great program to work with anxiety levels. But there's so many, we've had so many great speakers, and most of them will do remote behavioral work with anxiety. Things like the calm music, Lisa Spector, things like making sure you're offering choice at all times, making sure that you're communicating clearly. Read Gelman, I think it is, the book called The Loved Dog. I think that's a great one. And be very patient. I was just talking with someone last night who twice has had once a dog and once a cat who she rescued. And it took 2 years for her to be able to touch the cat on the head, another 2 years to pet the cat. And now the cat is cuddling with her all the time. So it took 4 to 6 years. So be patient
It's worth it.
and keep and definitely there's check out the 101 course, etc. But we have tons of speakers at Holistic Actions on that.
Okay.
So even if you do a month or two, subscribe for a month or two and listen to every anxiety one. We've had speakers for 8 years now. So there's a lot of good information. Everybody, much better than on the general internet. There's good on the internet, but there's also not good on the internet.
Yeah.
Ours is all good, and we're not of one opinion. We have conflicting advice. So you're going to hear one person saying, give probiotics during antibiotics, and another one say, no, that doesn't make sense to do that. So you'll have to decide, but at least you're getting good information from both of them. There's just no one right answer for anything.
My knees are taking a toll because I'm always on my knees hugging her. That's
Good.
really calms her down, and I can tell. It's like I can feel
But
her just. Oh,
good. That's good. But also then start moving into mental and physical stimulation. Just keep experimenting. Keep it up. You're doing good.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Anna, go ahead.
Hi. Thank you for doing these. I spread the word and hopefully people join. I was wondering about homeopathic medicine and the bird flu. If a cat gets the bird flu, is it guaranteed that they're not going to make it, that they're going to pass away, or
No,
can you manage?
absolutely not.
Okay.
We are definitely getting mixed responses from the field. I'm checking with a lot of holistic veterinarians posting, and they say that they think they're now beginning to feel that there's a whole lot of animals out there getting the flu and being positive with the testing for it that aren't showing any symptoms or showing very few symptoms. And even those that get ill, most of them are recovering. A few get the neurological and don't recover. But that's true for anything in life. A few make it, a few never get it, and everybody else is sort of in between. But now is the time for you to get a holistic veterinarian, even if it's a remote one, and get started now and join Holistic Actions. But no, it's not a death sentence.
Oh, okay. Is Dr. Judy Herman having a homeopath enough, or do I need
Yes. Nope, that's good.
Okay.
But I would check with her. I would
Okay,
check in with her. Good. And just see what she feels like about the bird flu.
Okay. My cat's an indoor-outdoor cat, but I've been limiting him to an hour outside. And there's nothing else I could do. I mean, he's
Well, you
just,
could also take him for walks outdoors where you're with him so you know he's not coming in contact with wild birds.
yeah.
That's the only
But
concern.
he won't get on a harness, and that's the problem. And I did catch him with a little bird yesterday. That's why I'm
Yes.
worried about it.
Yeah. Well, but their quality of life is important as well. So
I
there's
know.
unfortunately, no one right answer. But I would really make sure you're doing indoors the very best you can for stimulation and play and stuff like that. We had two crazy cat ladies talk to us. Their website is Two Crazy Cat Ladies.
Yeah.
And that may give you some fun ideas.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Dana is next in the chat. And Jeff, this is probably going to be mostly you. Just to abbreviate, cancer. Her beam is great. She's on some supplements and some Chinese supplements. The main thing is just living in the moment and loving every moment. And happiness, happy dances, doing the best that you can to make every moment happy. And we know it can completely turn things around. Bernie Siegel, who wrote Love, Medicine, and Miracles, never would have thought to tell a person to euthanize themselves. And yet he took his dog to the vet. The vet said the dog needs to be euthanized. I don't even remember what was the problem. He called home and his youngest son said to tell the kids to come say goodbye. And his son said, Dad, we don't do that here. We just love them. And they took the dog home and loved him for another 4 years.
Wow.
That's definitely one of the webinars to listen to for those of you who are Holistic Action members. Anything you want to add to that, Dr. Jeff?
Looking for the question, actually.
It was sort of high up, unfortunately. It was 6-year-old golden retriever with B-cell lymphoma, relapse for a third time, just started CHOP again, responds well to CHOP, but it's her third go, diagnosed initially 26 months ago. Oncologist wants to pivot to Tenova. But then we have what I said, the good supplements and good raw food, fresh food, happiness.
Okay, thank you so much.
Keep working with your Chinese medicine. Keep working with your Chinese medicine veterinarian.
You do think that's beneficial then?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Now, the question you want to ask your Chinese medicine vet is, should they, some Chinese medicine vets are fairly new to this. And others, like Steve and Karen Marsden, have been doing it like me for 40 years. I mean, I've been doing homeopathy 40 years. And so ask if they feel that they're actually working towards a cure or not, and would they be willing to consult with one of their teachers?
Okay. And I like her. I'm not going to say her name because I like her. She's different, but I like her. She's been somewhat helpful. But do you know of anyone in Tampa, Florida area? Holistic?
Well, what's the name of Marlene Siegel?
Marlene Siegel?
Yeah, I think it's called Wild. She's sort of north of Orlando, slightly northwest of Orlando. She has a very big hospital. She has all the bells and whistles. hyperbaric chambers and IT threads, and she's a very knowledgeable person.
Okay.
Rather opinionated, but very knowledgeable.
Okay, I'll do some research on her as well.
Great.
Appreciate that.
Okay, and just remember the key thing though is just loving every moment for
Yeah,
sure.
with the lymphoma, I've realized that it's
Yeah.
yeah.
Good.
Okay. Okay, thank you for your help. I really
Good.
do appreciate you all. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And quick answer to Anna, it is fine to give cat food that contains salmon. It's okay. You don't really, Dr. Jean Hovey doesn't like to feed fish to cats. I feed a wide variety of everything and just try not to feed a lot of anything. And we're learning some new things about tuna that I just heard where
Fuck up the elastic. Jeans aren't cotton anymore.
these are what?
No,
Cotton
go ahead.
anymore.
Go ahead.
Okay. Okay, Chantel, you're next.
Well, you didn't finish
Wait,
saying.
wait, yeah. I want to hear
I'm
what
sorry.
you were about to
What?
say. You said you're learning new
About
things.
tuna fish. Oh, sorry.
That's
So
okay.
what I just read briefly, and I haven't looked it up any further, is the mercury that's in tunas was being blamed on the increased mercury in the water. They've done a study in an area that had no mercury in the water and an area that had extra high mercury in the water, and the level of mercury in the tuna was the same in both places. This is actually on a super good website called goodnewsnetwork.org, which if you sign up for it, you get 4 or 5 good news stories every day. And they said this was because somebody had developed something that you could do in the processing of tuna that would lower the mercury. But then they said they think they've discovered there's something in tuna that actually naturally does that. So it may not be as bad as we think. But again, a little bit of everything is good. So do some noodling around on that with tuna.
But the salmon is the one that I was questioning, like when it's a chicken salmon mix of wet canned
It's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
It's fine. Again, I don't want you feeding chicken cat food 3 times a day. I don't want you feeding chicken salmon cat food 3 times a day. I want you to feed a variety. The more variety, the better of canned and fresh.
And I do that, and I didn't know if that was good because I change it up so much that I'm
Nope.
like,
That's fine.
I'm crazy.
Nope.
No, the more the better.
Oh, good.
Except it does depend if you notice that if you do too many variety, that all of a sudden their appetite starts going down, then back off a little bit and see what's happening.
They're happy. They look
Good.
happy.
That's great then.
Okay.
Keep it up.
Thank you.
Keep it up. Okay, Chantel.
Hi there. Yes, hello.
Hi.
Hi, I had a question. So my 7-year-old female Sheltie, she has a couple of small lumps on her chest, kind of by her top leg where her leg connects. So she's personality all the same. She's active, eating, drinking.
Have you had a veterinarian look at them?
No, not yet.
Okay.
I don't. Yeah, I just was wondering what that procedure would be. Like, is that like an X-ray sort of thing? Is this common for medium Sheltie dogs or?
There's so many different possibilities. It could be a cyst, it could be an embedded something that's embedded in there causing them. It could be a tumor, but there's so many different things it could be that I'd probably have it checked and make sure you've got a holistic homeopathic veterinarian on call.
Okay.
And keep working on that. I guarantee you guys, it is worth the hours of effort to set up with one.
Okay.
And I just want to ask, tell us, it's soft or hard when you peel the mouse?
They're movable. Like they can move with her skin. If I pet her and she doesn't seem to be bothered, I can still pet and scratch her as normal.
So they're movable, and when you feel them, they're hard or soft?
Kind of in the middle. Don't be too much.
But if it's movable, it's much less of an issue. So, a vet exam is really, the vet may just say, oh, it's a little fatty, nothing to worry about.
Okay. Yeah.
Thanks.
I don't
Okay.
homeopathic vet, so
Okay.
Go to, where do you live, Chantel?
Canada.
Yep. So there are homeopathic vets who work virtually in Canada.
Okay.
So go to the article that I recommended and you will go to the websites and you'll find them. Where in Canada?
Saskatchewan, right in the middle.
Okay. So Wanda Vakaroth is in up in Calgary and she does remote homeopathy. And there are others as well. And it was in Canada that Steve and Karen Marsden had their clinic for decades. So there's actually has been there's a lot up there. So go check it out for sure. So iPhone could be anybody. iPhone 97.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes. We can hear
Hi.
you.
Okay, good. I have a very bad internet access, so that's why I don't have the picture on because it
That's fine.
interferes.
No problem.
So I adopted a red Australian healer about 8 months ago, and he's intact and an adult. And he wasn't really assessed. It kind of just got handed off to me. I was just looking for a companion dog for my Queensland, who's I have at home. And I have rescued dogs before that just kind of like came into the home and were integrated into the home and no problem. But this dog was totally a different situation. He's totally traumatized and wouldn't let me touch him. Uh, he's very scared all the time, shy. He plays with my other dog and he comes over to me. I've worked with him but we have a no touching agreement.
I have to interrupt you because we're down to 4 minutes.
Sure.
So we have 6 people. So patience, like I talked about earlier. Join Holistic Actions if you possibly can. If not, put in behavior questions in the forum and read the forum. There's so many good books and people that talk about how to work with animals. So be really patient and track the progressing and the regressing because, and when they can read your mind, you got to be careful that your mind is doing good. And
that's hard.
That's going to that'll be, maybe he came there to have you do that.
And just real fast, because we only have a few minutes, I just put a link to a book called Enlightened Dog Training in the chat. I think that Jesse is actually in Canada, but the book itself is going to help anyone with anxiety, anyone who's got dogs that are in the situation that you're in. Because I just adopted a dog who fits the description as well, and she's coming right around. So, Dr. Christina,
I have one more. Akiko, the answer for you, because I know you can't speak, is you absolutely need to get a homeopathic or holistic veterinarian to work with remotely. And again, they are out there. But when you're dealing with heart problems, I wouldn't necessarily start decreasing the Lasix unless you're working with somebody. So at this point, Lasix is one that you can decrease a little bit, but I would I would definitely get a holistic vet for that. And I think we pretty much actually ran through them all of a sudden. Jenny answered 1 or 2, and Dr. Jeff is going to stay here, and I need to get off for another call. So you can stay if you want to stay a little extra longer, Dr. Jeff.
Yeah,
the article on holistic vets that I recommend. Yeah, you got it. Okay. All right. I'm off. I think I can leave and not kill everything, right? Yeah.
You can, yeah. And just one thing I wanted to add, I actually was switching the chat. Just wanted to add some about the puppy developing immunity, and really, in my mind, the best thing is gradual exposure. So the worst thing that we do for our pups when we're worried about vaccines is by not letting them on the ground, by not exposing them to other animals. And that's kind of the opposite of what we want to be doing because you can gradually build the muscle of their immune system by slowly and gradually exposing them to other dogs. And especially if the other dogs just had their shots and they're likely shedding the essence of the vaccine, so that can actually induce immunity in your pup as well. One thing I wouldn't do is expose them to the vet's office, dog parks, groomer, or places where they're likely to see other dogs that may or may not be sick. And let's see, is there anything else in the chat? I think that Ginny and Dr. Christina got everything. I thought I saw one other question there. Going along. Chin. No, isn't it? Just not bothering. The only other suggestion for any kind of growth or cyst is Paw Darko, and I'll put that in the chat. You can get Paw Darko liquid, which you can put on the growth or the cyst a couple times a day. And that actually does some amazing things for all tumors, all growths. And I do think that answers everything. Just that Monday starts the Holistic Actions Energy Month, and I for one am super excited about it because it's really all about energy, whether it's cellular energy that the body generates or the energy balance that creates the abnormal symptoms. So the webinar series that will be starting on Monday is going to address lots of ways of raising and balancing that energy. So for any members, we'll see you there Monday at 8. And for anyone else, we'll see you here in a month. Or if you want to join us at HA, then we will see you on Monday. Thank you all for your time. Thanks for coming. Thanks, Kathy.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you so much. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Anna.